Hello, welcome back. Last time we were just starting kind of exploring the Defender's Heart, having our first kind of conversations with our companions and the various things around. And then I went out for lunch. Got a nice bit of fish and chips at a cafe near mine, so I can't complain. And yeah, we'll just finish off having some of these conversations. Visali Rathimus, a stout old man with a fuzzy grey beard, mumbles a prayer. He looks as tired as everyone else in the tavern, but determination is stamped upon his haggard face. What can I do for you? Who are you? Visali Rathimus, rector of the local temple of Adabar. The temple is gone, though, and if we snooze here for much longer, the city will be lost as well. Who is that boy with you? This one? Kaida the shepherd, my apprentice. He's a smart boy and his faith is strong. He serves Arastil though, but there's still something he can learn from an old servant of Abadar. He'll be a great cleric when he gets a little older. What kind of help can I expect from you? First, I sell scrolls. I have a lot of them, something for every emergency. Second, while you're here in the tavern, I can read one for you. Guaranteed, no surprises. But you'd better not go into the city without a cleric. I won't be going there myself. I'm too old and my powers are needed here. Show me the scrolls you're selling. Rather a lot. Actually, it might be good to get a scroll of mirror image, even if just so I can learn it. This rod grants this wielder the ability to make up to 3 spells they cast per day extended as though using the extend spell. It's not as useful. Braces of the wizard. These braces grant their wearer an armor bonus of +2, just as they were wearing armor, and a +3 competence bonus on all knowledge arcana checks, and they're also way too expensive. I'm not made of money. This ring grants the wearer cold resistance 10. If the wearer has the ice plant hex, it also grants them +2 bonus to natural armor. Well, Camellia has that, so that might be worth keeping in mind. As long as the wearer wears this amulet, they are under the effect of the Death Ward spell. They get a +2 morale bonus to AC against the attacks of undead creatures. Not as useful at the moment, I don't think. Ring of powerful blood magic. When the wearer of this ring is blood raging and casts a spell, the save DC of this spell increases by 1. We don't blood rage. That would be nice otherwise. Daredevil boots. These boots allow the wearer to gain extra maneuverability while moving through hazardous areas, while using acrobatics to avoid provoking attack of opportunity. Yeah, probably won't get anything like that yet. I'll get 2 scrolls of mirror image, why not? And then learn one, although at the moment I don't think we'll be at a level to get it, even after we do the leveling up, but let's just learn it anyway. Copy to spellbook. Let's copy you to the spellbook as well. Put these on nest. There's not much of anything that land can use. Potion of blur. You have acquired the Scroll of Mirror Image. Ness can learn the spell. We just did that, but yeah, I think it will be... Yeah, so these are both level 2 spells, so at the moment... Yeah, this character cannot cast spells at this level yet. Maybe on level up we'll be able to, though. Let's go chat with Seela. Seela smiles at you warmly. Hey there! During that march through the dungeon, we never got the chance to exchange a proper greeting. It's high time I shake your hand. Yeah, I'd like to know more about you. Of course, ask anything. I'll answer honestly. Tell me about yourself. Where are you from? I'm a little bit from Geb, a little bit from Katapesh, but mostly from the Knights of Iomedae. I was accepted and began my training at 14. I belong to their ranks more than I belong to any other place. You've come to Mendev by a long road, haven't you? A very long one. Sira looks at you cheerfully. A traveller is expected to have amazing stories. Unfortunately, I have only 3 tales of any interest, and I'd like to save them for our next feast. Otherwise, I won't have anything to show for myself when it's time to start bragging. And that just won't do, especially since I'll win the night with my cautionary tale of a battle with the Chupacabras. You can't tempt me with a story about fighting Chupacabras and then not follow through. What are Chupacabras, by the way? Incredibly repulsive magical beasts, fast and dangerous. They can... Well, it looks like someone's fooled me into starting the tale. I guess now I'll have to tell the whole story. Picture a small town in Quadira, and down in the dungeon there's 2 murderers waiting to be executed. The gallows are already built for them. The rope's been bought, but sometimes life takes a surprising turn. Suddenly a paladin of Iomedae appears in the doorway and offers the murderers a deal. If they go with her to fight some monsters, they'll live. If they survive, that is. There's a big difference between immediate death and probable death with a glimmer of hope, wouldn't you say? So here we are travelling through the desert, me and my friend, a priestess of Sarenrae, along with the little ratfolk fellow who'd asked for our help, and the 2 cutthroats. We get to the ratfolk village and see their bodies lying around, all drained dry. We figured we'd have to fight vampires. That's how the little ratfolk described the monsters who attacked their village. That's why we went all in all brazen-like. The sun was high and the vampires couldn't attack till dusk. But we never got the chance to look around. Black shadows, quick as the wind, attacked us from all sides. Not vampires, but chupacabras. One of the lads we pulled from the gallows got killed right away. The second one ran for his life. That left me, the Rakfolk, and Kira. That was the name of the priestess. And we all stilled ourselves to fight for our lives. And just when we thought the end had come, with the chupacabras surrounding me like a pack of dogs around a bear, our Rakfolk friend wounded and down, and the teeth of the quickest of those blasted monsters clenching on Kyra's shoulders. Right then, when all hope was lost, the other lad from the gallows suddenly comes running back. He kills the beast attacking Kira. I'm sure you know what a turning point in a fight looks like. Well, this was it. A moment before we were lost, and a moment later we had it back under control. The chupacabras dropped dead one by one. The little ratfolk is reunited with his family, who were hiding in the basement. The priestess and I closed the eyes of that boy from the gallows who saved us. It was a shame he didn't survive the fight. May the gods keep his soul in its journey through the afterlife. That's a good story. He could have died in disgrace at the gallows, but instead he died a hero. And I'd fancy the stunt earned him some points at his final judgment. It's smart to remember our journey doesn't end in death. Had it not been for that mercy, Milos, that was his name, would be hanging from a noose, and me, Kira, and all the ratfolk would be dead in that village. Someone told me that a kind deed done by an unkind person is 100 times more precious. By the same token, an evil done by a noble soul is 100 times more horrifying. That's what I really wanted to say. The chupacabras were just a good starting point. So what made you become a paladin of Iomedae? Seela's gaze sharpens momentarily, then she sighs. That's a serious question and a good one. You should ask it of your companions. But it's a long story. To start with, 12 years ago I was nothing like the person I am now. I roamed the streets of Solku with other homeless orphans. I stole, I fought, I was a hired sword for a bit. But the proper origin, the proper origin for a paladin, is it? Back then, Solku was a city of orphans, widows and widowers. Gnolls decimated the city regularly. My parents were among their victims. People there heard about new deaths before they'd finished mourning their previous losses. One day a group of Knights of Iomedae brought a glimmer of hope to the city. But while others saw them as saviours and protectors, I was busy pricing up their noble horses and their gleaming mithril armour, wondering just how much one of their pretty swords would fetch. A thief lives one day at a time, that's what they say. I was the type that never thought past the next job. Anyhow, I was able to sneak into the knight's camp and steal one of their mithril helms. She pauses, her voice sad and measured. And I was right there when a gnoll attacked the helm's owner. Asimi was her name, and dealt a blow to her unprotected head. A gnoll like all those others she'd fearlessly driven from the gates of Solku. That one blow was fatal, but who was really to blame for her death? The gnoll attacker or the young thief named Seela? I know what it takes to survive sometimes, I can't judge you. We're not lawful. Let's go chaotic. Life is cruel and full of chaos. Sometimes survival just comes down to luck. So that's how you see it. Seela looks at you with curiosity but no hostility. I can't accept that point of view. If the story of my youth taught me anything, it's that we're all accountable for our actions. It's too easy to wave off responsibility if you use the cruelty of life as an excuse. But you were asking what brought me into the ranks of Iomedae's warriors. We all choose the paladin's path for our own reason. Some are guided by nobility of spirit, some by a desire to fight injustice. I became who I am through penance and a debt unpaid. The day Asimi died protecting my city, I wanted to kill myself for the terrible guilt I felt. But then I realised that wouldn't make the world any better, and I decided that instead I'd try to take her place. I'd become who she had been, and protect the innocence that she was no longer able to protect. What are the principles that paladins of Iomedae follow? Seela smiles. I'll tell you. I like to recite our code. It feels like I've said it 1,000 times, but it never gets old. There is strength in these words. After a pause, she begins, her voice slow and meditative. I will learn the weight of my sword. Without my heart to guide it, it is worthless. My strength is not in my sword, but in my heart. If I lose my sword, I have lost a tool. If I betray my heart, I have died. I will have faith in the inheritor. I will channel her strength through my body. I will shine in her legion, and I will not tarnish her glory through base actions. I am the first into battle and the last to leave it. I will not be taken prisoner by my free will. I will not surrender those under my command. I will never abandon a companion, though I will honour sacrifice freely given. I will guard the honour of my fellows, both thought and deed, and I will have faith in them. When in doubt, I may force my enemies to surrender, but I am responsible for their lives. I will never refuse a challenge from an equal. I will give honour to worthy enemies and contempt to the rest. I will suffer death before dishonour. I will be temperate in my actions and moderate in my behaviour. I will strive to emulate Iomedae's perfection. Thank you, I've learned everything I wanted to know. I hope I didn't bore you. Ask me something else if you'd like. Irabeth said your friend Jana Aldori is missing. Do you know where we should look for her? Irabeth is worried about her fighters, I understand that. I wanted to look for Jana myself, so I didn't distract you. But since you're in this too, I could use some help. Jana and I met in Canabris a few days ago and just hit it off. We went drinking together, we went to that unforgettable celebration together too, but we got separated in the crowd. So we should start looking from the main square. That's where I last saw her. Seela frowns. Jana's a good fighter, even if she is green. She couldn't have become an Aldori otherwise. I hope that means she's alright. What do you think of what's going on in Canabris? It's complete chaos. It's lucky we're here to handle it, right? Seela smiles brightly, then gives you a worried look. Does the way I talk bother you? I know I can seem blasé. Many good people and our protector Terendelev died here in Canabris. A paladin of Iomedae is expected to be properly respectful and solemn. But I prefer to face my troubles with a smile and a bit of common sense. Grief is a weapon they'll use against you. It can undermine a warrior's spirit. It's better we hold off on grief until we've driven the last demon and cultist from the city. If we want to win, we can't be mourning our deceased day and night. Plus, joy heals the soul. It's nice when you and your commander think alike. Seela smiles softly. I'm a commander, am I? I like that. Is fighting demons all you want, or are you looking for something more? How about covering myself in glory and becoming the hero of 100 ballads? Or at least a dozen, if they're lively ones. Seela's eyes shine cheerfully. Anyway, to be more serious, the area around the World Wound is the best place for a paladin who wishes to defend the weak and serve good. Being part of the crusade is reward enough for me, but there's something that worries me. I don't want to sound like I'm criticising my brothers in arms, but the Eagle Watch and the other orders are focused on just one aim, the war against the World Wound. That's why they can sometimes overlook the smaller things, ordinary misfortunes, you know? I always liked being a wandering knight because any moment I could get up and help a poor rat folk whose family had been kidnapped, or an old woman whose favourite dog had gone missing. So here's my answer. I don't have some big, important goal, but I'll be happy to help those who need it, a little bit here and there. Thank you for speaking with me. Until next time. See ya. Let's not talk to Elizabeth yet. There's a book over there about you. Hillhall. Hillhall. A tall, athletic man greets you. His hair is prematurely grey and shorn close to his head in a military style. He is lean and well groomed, and a monocle twinkles coldly in his eye. The bold set of his jaw and his large but agile frame attest that there is a man who is always ready to be on the move. Greetings, I am Hillhall, Venture Captain of the Pathfinder Society. I am the superior officer among Pathfinders in this region of Mendev. However, the Society is running almost no operations here right now. Besides me, there are almost no Pathfinders here. Actually, I'm only stuck here because of an old feud with a demon worshipper known as the Spinner of Nightmares. I've had to work alone without the support of the Society. But I've made a lot of acquaintances among the local mercenaries and daring fighters. If you need any good fighters for an honest cause, talk to me. So this is the guy that you come to if you don't want to use all the companions necessarily or something like that. You can, or you just want to experiment with class builds, you can come to him and basically hire mercenaries that you can build how you like. You can also respec with him, I think. I don't want to talk to him about that yet though. I'll do that later. Good luck, watch your back. Only trust your closest friends. The enemy is cunning and treacherous.
Always watch your back.
Pink Eye's an unfortunate name. An imposing young orator is surrounded by a crowd of crusaders who are hanging on to her every word. I hope this example clearly illustrates the difference between Jistkar legionaries from the last war and the crusaders. The perfection of form and spirit they were imbued with during creation turns them into parts of a well-balanced war machine. Not a ragtag bunch of individuals, but a united whole. Now tell me again why I'm supposed to be impressed by your reckless assaults, where everyone is fighting for their ego and for the right to beat their peers to a swift but pointless heroic sacrifice? Some of the crusaders grumble unhappily, but it is clear that they are captivated by the woman's words. The only exception is a scraggly and dishevelled halfling monk whose puffy black eye gives him away as a brawler and a troublemaker. He's enthusiastically pushing forward and tries to engage, but one of his friends swiftly jabs him in the back with an elbow, making the poor fellow pause to catch his breath. Quietly listen to the discussion. One of the crusaders angrily curls his fist tightly and retorts with a burst of passion. If those gists of yours, or whatever, had come for us, we'd have their guts for garters. You think we've never fought a mighty adversary before? The soldier's stern facade cannot fully conceal his relish. He clearly plans to enjoy this confrontation. The crusaders around him look upon their exotic opponent with a mixture of irritation and piqued interest. The woman chuckles before cutting off her interlocutor. I would love to see you storm a 60-foot tall walking castle shaped like a gigantic elephant that carries siege fortifications on its back. And I'll have you know these fortifications were defended by Discarn priest craftsmen armed with demon-bound war machines. They use the enemies you cannot defeat as mindless weapons. The woman gives the people around her a triumphant look and adjusts her clothes with pointed nonchalance. Her voice takes on a lecturer's tone. You should not argue with someone who happens to be the most authoritative researcher on the history of warfare 3,000 years before the foundation of Absalom. The woman looks at you and flashes an amused smile. The lecture is over. Do my esteemed listeners have any questions? Who are you? I am Indara, a warrior, magus, and scholar of classical warfare from Garand. The woman peers at you apprehensively, then sighs. I admit that I am mildly offended by the fact that my name is entirely unfamiliar to you, but I'm willing to accept that this is due to the Avistan's isolation from the sophisticated culture of the world at large. You've come a long way to be here. I like to think of myself as an inhabitant of Galarian, and I don't narrowly identify with any country in particular. Why did you come here? To witness a legendary war, the confrontation between denizens of a plane famous for its love of violence and the crusaders from every continent, united by the common goal of defending their home. An epic struggle of colossal proportions. That hasn't been particularly epic so far, truth be told. The monk with the black eye grins and mutters under his breath. Maybe she just can't see it from here. The view will get way more epic if she stops hiding amongst us and takes a walk outside. The woman smirks contemptuously. She does not deem the monk's words worthy of comment. It looks like you know more about warfare than any of us. Oh? Am I hearing things, or did someone finally acknowledge my competence in the art of warfare? Perhaps there is a sufficiently open-minded person among the Crusaders after all. I find myself pleasantly surprised. You are very smug. Why don't you join the Crusaders and show them how fighting should be done? No. I'm a historian, an analyst, a theorist. Do you know what these three words have in common? They describe a mortal woman who does not participate in the conflict upon which her thesis will be founded. But then again, I will hardly be able to describe this mess as anything other than a feeble likeness of the last war of Discar. The monk with a damaged eye grins slyly and comments. The more dangerous the upcoming scuffle is, the more motivated we are to find clever and pretty words to justify not actually doing the fighting. What is this last war you mentioned? The last war of Gisco, of course, a large-scale conflict that took place 3,000 years before the foundation of Absalom. It was a war against the Aresian pharaoh of forgotten plagues, the war that ended the legendary Gisco Imperium, an epic struggle that became the most vibrant page in military history. Alas, all conflicts that follow it were but a pale shadow, including the one I am witnessing here. Why did you find the last war of Gisco so inspiring? Imagine legions of golems imbued with extraplanar spirits marching into battle. Imagine flying cities that swoop out of the clouds like terrifying monstrous birds of prey to drop forces on top of enemy castles. Picture gigantic mechanisms powered by captive and very angry demons and devils. Imagine standing in the warpath of walking citadels or having to cover your ears to block out the sounds of cannons loaded with shrieking elementals. Finally, imagine the ultimate weapon that would defeat the Gisca, a deadly night plague. This affliction was an attack dog, a trained epidemic, a tamed pestilence, striking only at those who its masters wanted to kill. Imagine all these terrors and understand that no flight of fancy can even come close to the horror of the nightmares that they made real. Well, how do you know so much about this last war? I can say without false modesty that there is no more authoritative researcher on Galarian when it comes to the history of warfare 3,000 years before the foundation of Absalom. I've dedicated my whole life to this subject. I've personally visited old battlefields and studied the most mysterious and forbidden archives containing chronicles of ancient wars, sometimes risking my life in the process. I saw a fallen sky city of the Shori Empire with my own eyes. I ripped out the control crystals from an exterminator-class combat golem that guarded a Gisca laboratory with my own hands. These figures held the glass flask that the servants of Pharaoh of Forgotten Plague. These fingers held the glass flask that the servants of Pharaoh of Forgotten Plagues used to create the first generation of pestilence that devastated the Jiska Empire. How do I know so much? I saw and touched everything I am telling you about. You're wrong to treat the Crusaders with such disdain. Allow me to explain. A debate? Oh, I'll be happy to prove that the current conflict can't hold a candle to the last war of Jiska. Very well. The last war of Jiska was waged using significantly greater number of troops. Both sides actively relied on reinforcements from allied planes, and their strategic planning was perfected through no fewer than 7 rounds of intensive design. None of the above applies to this war of yours. Compared to the Jiska, we are but a stone-wielding club kobolds. I would like to conclude my thesis with a few words of wise counsel from Dagon, an advisor to the Pharaoh of Forgotten Plagues. I doubt you will comprehend the true genius of his statement, but here it is nevertheless. A gadfly sees the ox pays no heed to the gadfly, but crimson fever takes them both. Well, Nestor's a little bit smart too. Let's try this one. The principles of war are always the same. Weapons, causes, and resources may change, but the foundations remain immutable. Failed. Then why don't we study tactics by watching a couple of rock-wielding goblins fight over a dead rat? Idara's sarcastic words produce bursts of laughter from the audience. The monk with the black eye stifles a giggle and looks like he wants to say something, but ultimately holds himself back. The events of the past are shrouded in legend, but the fate of the world is being decided here and now. That is what you fail to grasp. Hey! The earnestness on the faces of those around you has taken away Idara's panache, encouraging her to backtrack and stumble over words. Of course, I am not trying to diminish the importance of current events. What I am trying to say is that from a standpoint of history, and particularly the history of warfare, she falls silent, fixedly staring at the unfriendly eyes of her audience. The true importance of these developments won't become obvious until later. Idira offers a pretentious dismissal. As a scholar, I cannot deny that there is a certain truth beneath your skeptical statements. History is a complex discipline rooted in fact and evidentiary base, and an evidentiary base that grows even more meagre the farther the described period is from the present moment. Of course, if I were to argue in bad faith, the way Crusaders embellish their tales of slaying a single Brimarak by adding a dozen Baelors, for example, I could win this debate. But I am above such things, and therefore am forced to admit that your skepticism is not entirely without merit. Have you changed your mind about joining the Crusaders? I don't see the point. You Crusaders appear to be quite confident in your skills. If nothing else, you've presented your arguments to me with extreme confidence. Idira unbuckles her sword belt and hands you a weapon. This is a worthy blade. It will be of use not only for the strong, but also for the wise. And this is where I bid you farewell. Before the end of the day, I was planning to observe how winged demons use pack tactics to drive their prey like herds of livestock. It's about time I get back to my research. The hint of a smile graces Indara's lips when she sees disappointment in the eyes of many crusaders around her. Stay safe. Loses the debate and bails. Let's check out the... It's not bad, actually. Jernug, or Jernau. A young man in well-torn travelling clothes and a simple wooden symbol of Erastil on his chest is efficiently cutting a linen rope into strips to use as bandages. Despite his visible exhaustion, he works with zeal, singing some tune about red braids and ripe sleeves of wheat under his breath. He raises his warm, chestnut-coloured eyes to you. Are you one of the Crusaders? Thank you for defending those of us whose talents lie off the battlefield. I'm Jernau, servant of Erastil. Pleased to meet you. What are you doing? I only took my holy orders recently, but my God has only bestowed a little of his power upon me as yet. I'm sorry to say that the number of wounded fighters in this tavern is far beyond my power to heal. But there's a reason people say, have faith in the gods, but look to yourself first. I may not be able to help the wounded with magic, but I can at least cut up bandages. You from around here? No, I was just passing through Canabras. I was sailing down that old man of ours, the Great Selin River, to a village by the name of Chilly Creek. I happened to land in the city on the eve of the festival, and I'm ashamed to say I decided to stay for a day to enjoy myself. But I ended up staying in the city longer than I'd bargained for. Chilly Creek, where's that? It's a small fishing village. It's not even marked on some maps. But people do live there. What they don't have is a priest. They have no one to heal their wounds, no one to offer prayers. For a good catch, no one to give their deed no one to offer prayers for a good catch, and no one to give their dead a dignified burial. The world wound is a stone's throw away. So I'll be setting sail for Chilly Creek to serve my God and my people. Once we've held Canabras, I'll be going there, if by the grace of the good gods we'll be able to survive this. You should come and visit me sometime. You'll find the village here on the bank of the river. My apologies if you can hear my neighbour's music, by the way. They're playing it quite loud, but yeah, hopefully the mic's not picking it up. Aren't you a young and inexperienced cleric, afraid to go to the border of the world wound? I won't lie, I am afraid, but what can I do? Those villagers are simple people, like you and me. Every day of their short lives is spent doing hard, honest work. That's exactly the kind of life I want. Something simple but meaningful. If I had centuries ahead of me, like elves and some other races do, I might have spared some 50 years or so travelling around the world, the young man says with a smile. Or maybe even 100, why not? But I don't have time to spare, so I want to spend my short life in the place where I'm needed most, even if it's dangerous. Especially if it's dangerous. I could use the help of a cleric. Jernal makes a helpless gesture. Arestor knows I'd be glad to help you, but it's no use. My spells are depleted and have no training in potions or scrolls. See this robe I'm cutting up for bandages? It's the second to last one. I have to go. May Arestor watch over you. Fawn Autumn Haze. A tall, fragile-looking elf sits in front of you, eyes closed. He is pale as a ghost, his arm wrapped in a blood-stained bandage. You spot other bandages on his body under his clothes, but even in such a miserable state, he manages to keep calm. Raising his eyes to meet yours, he says faintly, I'm Fawn Autumn Haze, at your service. His pale lips are reddened by blood, but you see no signs of pain or fear in his greying eyes. Do you need help? After giving you a cold, intense look, he shakes his head. Do not trouble yourself on my behalf. A local healer tended to me. Besides, I come from a resilient, hardy people. My body will endure both the wounds and the poison delivered through them. Who wounded you? A sinner and accomplice to demons, the quarry I am hunting in this inhospitable place. Who are you? My name is Fawn Autumn Haze. I come here from Kyoin because I am a hunter, and all minions of evil are my quarry. I won't say more than that, if you don't mind. We are strangers and have different races and cultures. I'd rather not tell you more than is necessary. Well, I am Nest. You can trust me. I might be able to help you. After a brief pause, the fawn says, It would be impolite to refuse such a direct and friendly offer. Who is your quarry here in Mendev? I am hunting a fugitive, a Descarite by the name of Kalessa. It pains me to admit that there are heinous malefactors such as her among my noble kind. I managed to catch up to her in Canabras and I wounded her, then demons appeared and the city was engulfed in flames. I was injured in the battle that ensued and couldn't free her soul from its service to her dark master. He expresses no anger or hatred as he speaks, only compassionate sorrow. I'm sorry for your misfortune. I hope things will turn out differently next time. He purses his lips. There's no need for pity. Our ancient kind is blessed with great longevity. We gain a deeper understanding of the world than other races, and we learn our lessons better than anyone. That goes for learning from our mistakes as well. I survived, which means I will be more prepared the next time we meet. I wish to aid you in your hunt. Fawn covers his eyes warily. I thank you, but this is my mission. I'm used to facing all manner of terrors on my own. I do appreciate your willingness to help. If you happen to meet Kalessa, take caution. She has turned many innocent souls to her path of evil. The darkness has rewarded her with many gifts. Her appearance alone will tell you that. It is warped. The agate skin, the malicious stare of her blood-red eyes, the bestial teeth. She's more monster than elf at this point. What does this Kalessa look like again? Failed. Her skin is dark, her hair preternaturally white. Her red eyes can see perfectly in the dark, which to my dismay I've come to know from experience. But bright light causes her kind pain. I used an alchemical powder that explodes in a dazzling flash, and she cried out as if I had stabbed her. It's clear that this woman is a faithful servant of darkness. The marks of Kalessa's masters have left on her appearance say as much. I'd like to know more about you. I won't hold anything back, not who I am, why I made my way here, or who it is that I'm pursuing. I think I've already asked these. I have no more questions. As you wish. Good fortune to you. Now who's this? Surrender thy soul, Devlin. Armade, protect us. Ha 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 ha, got you again. How many times is that today? Take your jokes and shove 'em, tiefling. Whoa, easy there, Chief. Don't hit me.
Hey, Chief! Ooh, hey, gorgeous. Come over here. I want to talk to you about something. Something really important.
The young tiefling sits cross-legged on the floor. He looks relatively calm for someone in shackles, but his tail whips back and forth in agitation. Noticing your attention, the tiefling sits up and beckons you over.
Quit bothering the decent people in here, Woljif, or I'll knock your teeth out!
What's it to you, Delvin Dum-Dum? You were told to guard me, and I'm not stopping you. But no one told me I had to shut my trap.
Who are you?
Woljif. Woljif Jefto. I deal in useful things. I can get you whatever you want. Anything. But there's just one problem.
The tiefling rattles his chains and gives you a meaningful look. What do you want from me?
I'll lay it out for you. Simple job, 30 minutes tops. We go someplace, talk to someone, and in return, whatever you want, I'll get it for you. Some extra rations? No problem. Armor, weapons, scrolls, you name it. It's as good as yours. If you need my help with something, whistle and I'll be there. I'm handy enough with knives too, and even my magic know-how isn't too shabby.
What a load of guff! If you were good at magic, you wouldn't be stuck in here now, would you?
Don't you listen to him, Chief. He'd find fault with the Queen herself. I'll be useful to have in battle, and I'll sell whatever you want at a reasonable price. It's your lucky day. You won't meet another gem like me in Canabras.
That sounds like a companion pitch if ever I heard one. Why are you in chains?
Does it really matter? Don't get hung up on the past, Chief. Don't look to the future. Live in the here and now.
He was caught thieving.
He has that vibe. Your shadow, what was that?
Get me out of here and I'll tell you. And don't worry, it's not contagious.
I really like Woljif's voice actor. He does a good job. I can't help you while you're chained up here. How can I free you?
That's easy. You know Irabeth? Feisty looking gal, always wears armor. You can't miss her. She's the meanest fighter in the whole city. When you see her, put in a good word for me, will ya? Tell her there's this guy Woljif locked up for no good reason in the Defender's Heart. Well, for the follies of his youth. And he really wants to get out on bail so he can keep up his good behavior and make a contribution to society. You got that? Will you do it?
Alright, I'll talk to Irabeth about your situation.
I knew I could count on you. Knew it the moment I laid eyes on you.
You could tell I'm a protagonist and need companions. We'll talk later. Oh, there's a lot to search in here. Oh, okay. I thought they were all individual things. Don't mind me just robbing you guys. Levers, eh? Let's not mess around with them now. Irabeth rubs her red and tired eyes. Any success? How is the city? I haven't actually been out yet. There is a tiefling chained up in the Defender's Heart. What can you tell me about him? Irabeth shrugs scornfully. Woljif is a petty thief from a gang known as the Thieflings operating in Canabris. That's what we call them in these parts. They tried to rob a vendor of magical items recently. Unfortunately, we apprehended only one of them and the rest managed to escape. We have nowhere else to keep him apart from the Defender's Heart, but that's hardly a prison. Yeah, why does a tavern have a cell in the basement? Woljif knows it too. He's been begging us for days to let him go free and have someone vouch for him. He's already asked you to put in a good word for him, hasn't he? Irabeth squints at you thoughtfully, then shrugs. If you want to recruit Woljif and put him to good use, go ahead and take him off our guards' hands. We can ill afford to let a soldier spend their days watching over a middling thief. I hope the tiefling proves useful, should you decide to take him along. Cool. I have to go. May Almade keep you safe. I know there's some more things I could be saying, but I want to space it out a little bit. Plus I've been doing a lot of talking.
Careful now.
Well, Chief, what do you got for me?
I talked to Irabeth and I decided to make you part of my troop. We'll see how it goes.
You must be a smooth talker. Come on, Delvin. Get these bracelets of yours off me. I'm going free.
You're sure to regret this. This tiefling will fleece you for everything you've got. Mark my words.
You're a bitter little man, Delvin. Petty and mean. You can't even be happy for me, can ya? I pity you. I'll leave you alone with your sad little soul. So long. And now, Chief, straight down to business. You see, I'm one of those guys that people around here call thieflings. We just call ourselves the family. After we knocked over that shop and I got stuck here in the Defender's Heart, a little bird told me that big sister Charisme wanted to see me. That she had some questions to ask me. You following? Now, she won't be asking me questions like, Woljif, how'd you manage to get out of this one? Or, Woljif, you're so thin, didn't they feed you? No, something serious has gone down, and I just know they want to try to pin something on me. I can feel it in my tail. So, I knew right away that I couldn't go alone. You turned up just in time, Chief. You don't need to do anything when we get there. Just stand behind me and look mean, and I'll handle the rest. Somehow. Let's go, I'll show you the way.
There you go, an extra party member. I wonder what these... I'll keep the shield on the wall. What do these do? I meant to just kind of click them until I get the right combination. Do you know? No. Yeah, puzzles like this are sort of irritating because there's absolutely no kind of clue to go by. I'm assuming it's going to open a door here, but I don't have a single clue how to best do it.
That's easy.
Let's go outside. Commander, look what we've got here. Are you two mad? Whatever possessed you to steal the gem golem from the Tower of Estrad Museum? We didn't steal nothing, Commander. We saw looters dragging it down the street and recaptured it. How's... Oh, okay. That shiny fellow belongs to the treasury. The inlay alone is worth more than the castle. Joran, see to it that no one lays a finger on the golem or plucks out a single gem. The same goes for you two. That was way too quick for me to read. I think this guy's the transmuter, so like if you want to wear a specific set of armor for its buffs, but you wanted it to aesthetically look like another set, you can talk to him. Joran. A grizzled dwarf turns a blade in his callous hands, carefully inspecting its edge. When he sees you approaching, he sets the blade aside and greets you with a nod. A new face in the city. You picked a good time to come to Canabris. As you can see, we're in sore need of warriors. Are you Staunton Vane's brother? Yep. Where he goes, I go. That's how we've always done it. Even before the world wound. I forge the armour and he goes into battle and breaks it. He brings it back to me and I repair it and make it better than before. Everything's changed since then, of course, but that part has stayed the same. How is Staunton to blame for the fall of Dresden? I've told this story so many times already. While telling it one more time won't kill me. The blacksmith sighs. Dresden was built after the First Crusade, back when it seemed like victory was ours for the taking, and that the demon invasion would soon be at an end. The population of Old Sarkoris was thoroughly diminished, and many of them hoped to see their hard fighting repaid with a small plot of unclaimed land. Dresden was a fortress built on all our hopes, and on Mendev's ambitions, though you're not supposed to say that out loud. What a city it was, Nest, you can't even imagine. It was built by the finest engineers from the Five Kings Mountains. Queen Galfrey spared no expense. Dresden was meant to be the capital of the Crusade movement, a monument to its glory and a beacon of hope for all of Golarion. Heroes were drawn there to seek fame and glory, and they came from all over. Taladord, Garin, Taiji. I couldn't list them all. A relic known as the Sword of Valor was kept there, the banner that had been carried into battle by Iomedae herself, back when she was still human. That banner protected the city and kept the demons from teleporting inside its walls. As long as the banner was in its place, Dresden was invincible, or so we thought. But then the world wound suddenly expanded, the demons launched a new onslaught and the folk started saying it was time to declare the Second Crusade. Dresden was unassailable, until one young officer was tempted by a beautiful woman. She convinced him that the banner shouldn't be hanging in the city, that its rightful place was on the battlefield. She whispered honeyed words about glory and valour and convinced him that he could be a hero as great as Iomedae herself. And the poor fool believed her. He rounded up some of his hot-headed friends and carried the banner outside the city gates on an unauthorized foray. The demons slaughtered them within seconds, but for some reason the courageous ringleader was spared. A whole army teleported into Dresden. It was a bloodbath. Joran solemnly shakes his head. As you can guess, that officer was called Staunton Vane, and the woman turned out to be a demon. Not just any demon, it was Minago, that foul wretch. She's given us a lot of grief here in Canabris too. Just don't ask me what I was doing while my brother was off having trysts with that beast, and why I didn't save him from his own stupidity. The blacksmith gestures as if to ward off an inevitable reprobation. Who could have guessed it would end like this? I failed my brother, that's the truth. I blame myself every day looking at his plight. That's the story. Do you recognise this sword? Do I recognise it? Of course I do. I made this with my own hands. There's my brand, see? The dwarf carefully takes the sword in his hands, gazing at it like a doting father. Oh, Yaniel, things have been tough without you. But at least we've still got your sword, that's something. Joran returns the sword to you. In battle, ordinary swords get blunted, they break, but sometimes a weapon can preserve. I don't even know how to explain it, I'm no authority on these things, but something like an echo of the deeds done with that weapon, or more like the reflection of the wielder's soul? I don't know. I will say one thing, take care of that sword. Yaniel may no longer be with us, but the demons will still remember why they need to turn tail and run when they see radiance. Och, the scabbards will warn. We can't be having a fine sword like this being carried around in this tatty thing. I'll make you a new one if you like. If the city stands strong and we both survive, come see me again, and I'll have it ready, no charge. Show me your wares. This is the weapons guy. Price in I like doing it price in descending order because generally the better things are more expensive. I'm fine with my S stock at the moment. What time is it? 20 past 2. Right, let's do leveling up. Level 3 of the Magus Sword Saint. Magus Arcana. As he gains levels, a Magus learns arcade secrets tailored to a specific way of blending martial puissance and magical skill. Starting at 3rd level, a Magus gains 1 Magus Arcana. He gains an additional Magus Arcana for every 3 levels of Magus attained after the 3rd level. Unless specifically noted in a Magus's Arcanus description, a Magus cannot select a particular Magus Arcana more than once. And we get a bonus feat as well. Mobility's fine how it is. Let's go athletics. Arcana knowledge and world, perception. And let's put some points into use magic device. Using scrolls a bit better. Feat. Yeah, I think we need to go for Fencing Grace. Choose one kind of light or one-handed weapon. We've got a rest stock. When wielding your chosen weapon one-handed, you can add your dexterity modifier instead of your strength modifier to that weapon's damage. That is essential for us as we have... well, we don't have any sort of strength modifier, and our dexterity is what we've put everything into. So yeah, Fencing Grace, S stock. Magus Arcana. Arcane Accuracy. You can expend 1 point from his arcane pool as a swift action to grant himself an insight bonus equal to his intelligence bonus on all attack rolls until the end of his turn. That sounds pretty useful. Yeah, we'll go with Arcane Accuracy. Then we get 2 more spells. Oh, they're level 1 spells. Okay. Magic Weapon gives a weapon a +1 enchantment bonus on attack and damage rolls. Blade Enfeeblement. You must succeed a ranged touch attack to strike a target. Subject takes penalty to strength. I don't think this really matters too much. Let's go with colour spray just because we're going. It feels kind of thematic for the vibe we've got. And vanish, why not? Well, apparently I think we've already got that, but that's fair. Woljif is already level 3. Let's have a look at what his deal is. Yeah, so he's a rogue with some spell use. He's got weapon finesse, 2 weapon fighting, and double slice. Add your strength bonus to damage rolls made with your offhand weapon. He doesn't have much strength at all, but... Well, he doesn't have any bonus strength, but we can change that. What's his spell look like? I think that's a okay mix for now. Lan. Zen Archer. Get the mobility up. Perception. So that sacrifices some of your accuracy for damage. Deadly aim. Or we could go improved initiative. Your quick reflex so basically means you're more likely to move first if you go improved initiative. Just going to get fast movement. A 3rd level key strike allows the monk's unarmed attacks to be treated as magic weapons for the purposes of overcoming damage reduction. Point Blank Master. At 3rd level, a Zen Archer gains Point Blank Master as a bonus feat, even if he does not meet the requisites. What's Point Blank Master? You do not provoke attacks of opportunity. Oh, that's good. It means if someone comes close, he can still fire. And then Zen Archery. At 3rd level, a Zen Archer may use his Wisdom modifier instead of his Dexterity modifier and ranged attack rolls when using a bow. I think his Wisdom modifier is the same as his Dexterity at the moment, so... let's go improved initiative, because land going first is useful. Point Blank Master with a longbow. I dislike when this happens, because I feel like it should let you add the prepared spell. Let's go shield. Go extra defense. What does Clasper actually do? Oh, so it's like you can stun or blind people. It's not a damage attack. Camellia. Let's keep her in Shaman Spirit Hunter. I think Woljif's going to start taking over for trickery, but that's fine. I'll put one in perception. I feel like it never hurts to have multiple people with a good perception, because you're more likely to pick up on stuff. And then I'd like her to dual wield. There's 2 weapon fighting. I'd like her to dual wield rapiers, I think. So I could get that now, or get the rapier. Yeah, she was missing a fair bit, so let's give her the weapon focus rapier for now. Oh, she's got a bunch of spells. We'll put ball strength in there. Yeah, so we have to rest. Really, you want to level up before you rest, but let's go protection from alignment communal, because everything we're fighting is evil, so that's helpful. And let's go false life. up Sealer. He's a paladin. Roll religion, persuasion, and I guess law nature until we get someone. Oh, Camelia's got that and is better at that. Let's go use magic device. And feet. I think combat reflexes is a good one just for the attacks of opportunity. Most builds seem to always want it, so yeah, we'll go combat reflexes. And then mercy. Also, this is like a you can cure certain effects with her lay on hands ability. Fatigued is fine. There we go, all leveled up. And immediately the hotbar is messy. I prefer using the side hotbar. There's a bit more kind of room to do stuff. Arcane accuracy. So as a swift action you can increase your accuracy for the next attack you do.
Precisely.
Right, before we go out, I'm just going to take a quick break, then we'll go out and start exploring Canabras. See you in a sec.